Hello, 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 everybody. It's so lovely to see you all today and to connect with you all. Thank you so much for joining me today for this discussion of Soul Center Healing Hypnosis practitioners in regards to how we found Soul Center and all of your experiences with using it since you found it. So, for anybody that hasn't heard of Soul Center Healing Hypnosis before, that is often referred to as SCHH, it is a quantum hypnotherapy modality that we use to, yes, it does past life regression. Yes, we can connect with the higher self and find out all of our clients' answers to their questions, but also we remove entities and energies and AI and implants and earthbound spirits from the energetic body of our clients prior to going into the quantum space. And we also rebuild their energetic body, which is very, very important in terms of their psychological state and their behaviors and emotions and physical body prior to going into past life regression. So I am joined today by the lovely Sharon Mason, who's based in the UK, and we have got Linda Canary, who's based in Washington, USA, and Alyssa Gibson, who is based in New Jersey, USA. Woohoo! So these beautiful ladies are all Soul Center Healing Hypnosis practitioners, and they're going to share their experiences today in regards to what they have found with the modality and how it's helped them in their lives. So without further ado, we're going to go out to Sharon first to ask the question. Tell us about the process that led you to finding Soul Center. So what were you doing at the time? How did you come across Soul Center and what was your experience of that?
Well, I first trained in QHHT, and I did this after having cancer treatment back in 2016. And after the cancer treatment, because I'd been left with really bad abdominal pains and food intolerances and all sorts of things that doctors couldn't get to the bottom of it. I tried a few things and came upon quantum healing hypnosis because I'd read a lot of Dolores Cannon books. And after that session, the healing was instantaneous. The abdominal pains disappeared immediately. The food intolerances disappeared immediately. And I thought, this is absolutely amazing. So I decided to train in QHHT. And after I'd done my training, a person that I'd done another training course with contacted me, and she said, "Oh, I've booked onto this fantastic course called SCHH, which is all about removing entities." And I thought, well, that sounds fantastic, because I had a friend who was sort of suffering with behavioral issues, and we couldn't really get to the bottom of what was going on with him. And I thought, this work could probably really help him, because I think there is some kind of attachment issue there. And I thought, if I could learn how to get rid of these energetic attachments, I could help him. And that's sort of how I kind of got into it, really.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. And that's incredible, isn't it? That you had that cancer treatment and you were left with so many symptoms and issues, and it was QHHT that just healed everything. And so you feel fantastic now.
Yes, a lot better. Yes.
That's amazing. That's excellent. Thank you so much. Linda, tell us about your journey. How did you end up finding SCHH?
Similar to Sharon's story, in that I also came across QHHT, having come across Dolores Cannon, and I was just absolutely mesmerized by the healing that so many different people had with the quantum healing. So I did take the QHHT course, level 1, and once I finished that, I began learning that entities were a huge issue in this modality. And so I thought, I really don't want to get involved in this until I know what I'm doing in that arena to protect myself and to protect the client. And then the universe sort of led me to your work, Laura. I saw you on a podcast explaining what you do, and I thought, this is the perfect toolbox and the perfect thing that I need to be able to even proceed with this work. And I am just so grateful that I found your work. It's amazing. And since I've begun this, every session has just been different in every way, but fantastic in every arena. And the connections I've made with the higher self are incredible.
Yeah. And I
And
think that
I can see the happening, the entity release happening as we proceed, and it's incredible. And I'm just grateful for this. It's exactly what's needed.
I think that's what you really start to see when you've been trained in QHHT and then SEHH is the level of connection that you can get with the higher self once you've energetically cleaned the person at the front end is unbelievable. And it's not until you're out there doing the day-to-day work, seeing people day in and day out, that you start to realize that entities are real, they are a thing, they're attached to many of our clients, and it's not just in the arena of hypnotherapy that people are starting to be brave enough to say that. It's also in psychotherapy as well. So within the psychotherapy arena, people are starting to be brave enough to say, actually, entities are real. Here's a book, documenting some of the things that we found over the years. And entities are starting to be taken more seriously when previously it was kind of a bit of a taboo topic and nobody wanted to discuss it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Linda. Alyssa, what was your journey to finding soul center healing?
Well, I am also a QHHT practitioner. I started in 2021 and all through 2022, I did my internship and I didn't have any issues with any of my sessions. They were all higher vibrational, healing for all my clients. But right smack in the middle of that, I had something traumatic happen to me. My dad passed away and it was just like a downward spiral from there. QHHT couldn't help him. Like I could help all these other people, but I couldn't help my own dad. So I guess I kind of went into a state of depression and just wanting to know answers. And I don't have anyone around me that practices QHHT, so I couldn't have like my own session. So I started looking for other things to kind of help. And I found this technique called Talk that is created by another QHHT practitioner, where you can communicate with your spirit guides and your lost loved ones through a pendulum. Well, I didn't communicate with my spirit guides or any lost loved ones through this pendulum. I actually communicated with a demon. I'll call it a demon because it was bad and it wanted me to do harm and it wasn't a fun time whatsoever. And this entity tormented me for a good 4 months. And finally, I just kind of started sticking up for myself. And then things kind of started happening. The universe started like giving me like crackers, how you leave a trail to find your way back to something. I started getting like all these little pieces because entities were never really on my radar before until I actually had to deal with one. And a fellow QHHT practitioner had a podcast and she happened to have an SEHH practitioner on her podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a modality of hypnosis that, works with what I'm dealing with right now. Like, I need to know this. So I reached out to her via text message because I knew her kind of personally, and she sent me your way, and you basically have changed my life, and I'm entity free now, and everything was kind of figured out. But, I look at it now as like a blessing in disguise, a really bad blessing in disguise. But if I didn't go through all of that, I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Also realizing not only did I have that one entity attached to me, but I had more, causing me all kinds of havoc throughout my whole entire life that I didn't really realize until, I realized it. So yeah,
Wow.
you saved my life. Yeah, SEHH saved my life. And I'm like, I need to learn how to do this because I'm already, trained with quantum hypnosis. This is just this is the missing link. This is the key, so I had to learn how to do it so I could help other people.
Wow. So it's like the universe orchestrated all of this, if you think of it from a higher perspective, to get you to be somebody that can help others in this exact space. That is an incredible journey that you've had, and I feel so happy for you that you did stumble upon Soul Center Healing Hypnosis so that you could train, because now you are going to be able to help other people, which is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
This is the thing that people get trained in when they do come to study Soul Center Healing. Not many people who are working in the spiritual realm understand the link between the mind, trauma, emotions, energy, and then physical symptoms. I know there's many people that will work in the spiritual arena that will just do remote entity release and remove the entities, but without addressing the root cause. And these entities always get in, they show us where our rawest places are. They're actually doing you a favor in a way. They're like a neon light that's going, look over here, look over here. Because when you remove that entity, that space where the entity was is your rawest place that you need to attend to, that you need to look at. There's some work for you to do there as an individual. And that's one of the things that you learn when you come to study SCHH. It's the science, if you like, behind spirit possession and entity attachment. It's not just you walk through life and happen upon an entity and then all of a sudden you're together. There is an actual process that occurs which makes you a vibrational match for that entity. And that's one of the things that I feel really passionately about in terms of helping people to understand that might not understand yet the spirit releasement space, that there is a real connection between spirit possession and your energy vibrating lower because of a trauma. And that's something that you obviously do learn when you come to study in SCHH. Thank you, all three of you, for sharing your experiences there. Thank you very much. So in terms of studying the SCHH course, how was that course different to anything that you've done, or how did you enjoy the course? Sharon, if we go to you first for that.
Well, I found it really fascinating to learn about all of the different types of entities and what they can cause, because I had absolutely no idea before doing the course that entities would cause these physical and emotional issues. No idea whatsoever. And I'd even had an experience a few years beforehand where an entity had taken over my body while I was on a plane. And I'd taken a sleeping pill and I had no idea what had happened. My friend said, oh, you woke up during your I thought I was asleep for 6 hours. You woke up during your 6 hours sleep and you were going on about how wonderful the sleeping pills were. And I said, that wasn't me. So I had no idea. So then I found out that wasn't actually an entity. That was a demon that had kind of taken over. But, you know, doing this course and you realize what these entities are capable of, and then you learn how you can remove them and how you can help heal people. It's just the most amazing modality, just to be able to, you know, take someone who's suffering with depression or anxiety and say, well, I think you can probably be helped by having entity removal. And knowing that so many of these different conditions are caused by entities, and you know, being able just to free those off people and them having a complete reset of their energy body gives you just the most amazing feeling. And I was so lucky at being your volunteer in our course, Laura, and one of the best things that happened during that, I mean, apart from having these bizarre voices erupting out of me where these entities were coming through, and I think one of them was a crow, and I remember trying to flap my wings while this crow was talking, which was just bizarre. And we did a past life regression, and I was a fairy, so that was you know, something else which was really truly amazing for me. So I loved it. I would recommend it to anybody who is drawn to this. I would truly recommend it.
It's the most incredible feeling, isn't it, when all of a sudden you are able, through the process of hypnotherapy, because you're taken into the theta brainwave state, to be able to connect with all of these things that are attached to you energetically, and then for these things to be able to actually speak and tell you why they're there how long they've been there for, what they're doing to you. And that's really how many of us got into this in the first place. It's because whilst we were doing, normal hypnotherapy with our clients, these voices would come out of people and you'd know that they weren't anything to do with the client. And particularly, when you're trained in psychotherapy as well, and the different indicators for different conditions where there would be multiple voices, and it isn't that, then you're absolutely 1,000% sure that it's something else. But yeah, I do remember doing that particular session with you, Sharon, and I remember it being a really, really profound session.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. So, Linda, what was your experience like with the SCHH course?
It was amazing. I really can't say enough good about it. Anybody that's interested in this work, I always recommend that they do your course, because I had a basic understanding about entities, and I'm always shocked when there's so many people that believe in ghosts and things, but when you start talking entities, they go, whoa, what? And most people don't want to recognize that they may have them. But through your work, it just gave a different level of understanding. I loved how you went into the history of entities and how they attach to the different energy centers in our body. That's information I didn't really understand. And what the underlying causes. Everybody has trauma. Everybody has sad emotions. And if we don't deal with those things, you're likely to get an entity, and we need to move through those things, but we need to learn how to process and protect ourselves. And it was, to me, your course was just absolutely incredible, the depth of knowledge that you have, and then how to deal with the entities. It was wonderful. You lay it out in such a way that anybody, even that hasn't gone through another QHHT or different modality like that, can also learn that along with this. So it's a perfect marriage of everything you need to protect people, and then to learn how to work with the client to protect themselves so they don't continue to get these entities. And like you hit on earlier, there are a lot of modalities out there where they're just removed. But then if the person doesn't understand how they got them and how to protect themselves, then they're just going to continue to get entities again. So I found your course just very thorough and providing all the tools people need. And then you also are always there to answer questions. You always have these Zooms every week or two, depending on what your schedule allows. But there is just so much a chat thread for all of the different students to get on and ask questions and help each other. And there's so much support. And so for me, it's been really wonderful. And I can't say enough about it. I'm always advocating for people that are interested in this to do your course, because it's very thorough and gives you all the tools you need to do this work. And it's so needed.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That means the absolute world to me. And I wanted to give people everything that I didn't have. And I wanted it to be accessible for everybody. So not just people that's been through another course, but literally anybody that wants to learn it can come on the course and learn it. And something that you touched upon that's really, really important in that is to do with the understanding that you get through that course in regards to the different types of entities and the energy centers that they attach to. Because again, with spirit releasement and spirit releasement practitioners and modalities, I don't believe that the link has been made anywhere else in regards to us, in regards to here with entities and the type of entity and the fact that they attach to a chakra point. That is the absolute key, because the only reason they attach to us is because they want our light. We are literally an energetic battery for them. We are the fuel for their existence in the realm that they are in. So it's really, really important for us to understand that as humans, because if we understand it, then we can make sure that we don't provide those entities with that light. If your light is vibrating high enough, they can't access it. Thank you so much for all of that, Linda. I really appreciate it. Alyssa, what was your experience like with the course itself?
Everything just clicked. Like, I didn't know that they could, attach to different, chakra points, but I mean, it all makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. Like everything just clicked and resonated. And yeah, basically everything that, was already said, honestly. It's the missing like link to the other modalities of quantum hypnosis. You touch on the things that are taboo within the other modalities that they just don't want to either admit to, or they're just not. I don't really know why those other modalities, and I'm not here to try to figure that out, but SDHH is the future of, quantum healing. It really, really is. And I feel like anybody that signs on to your course, it just resonates with them, and that's why they're there in that space learning, because they're meant to learn and to just help the collective kind of figure everything out and release all that does not serve them.
Absolutely. And I agree. I do believe that energy work, energy healing is the future of all healing. It's the future of everything in terms of healing moving forwards. We are living in a time where we are stepping away from one era into another. And the era that we are stepping into is that era of awareness that we are so much more than just a physical body. And that will have a massive effect on healing in general across the human population. So I want to go out to you ladies now for you to talk about your own personal experiences of having SDH done on you and how your life has changed since you've had your own energy clean and cleared. So if we go to Sharon first for her experiences with regards to that.
Well, I've had a few clearances now. I'm going to talk about the most recent one I had, because a couple of weeks ago, after having had a cold for a little bit, my energy felt really, really low, and I was feeling really anxious and depressed, and I couldn't find motivation to do anything, which is really, really odd for me, because I'm usually very kind of optimistic and busy and wanting to do stuff. And I just thought, I just can't do anything. I just feel really kind of like low energy and just stuck. Anyway, I got one of the SDHH practitioners that I know well to do a clearing on me last week, and I felt instantly better, and she cleared off several demons. There were 2 or 3 different earthbound spirits that I picked up, and also an AI as well. And once she'd done that, my energy returned pretty quickly. I felt much brighter again, much lighter, and the depression lifted. And I thought, wow, that's this. If people knew about this, if people really understood how their energy and their emotions were affected by entities, this would become absolutely world changing, this modality. And I hope that people are able to find this modality when they need it.
I agree. It's that link between emotion and the energy, that interface between the two. And something will kick an emotion off that is a low frequency emotion, that will lower the frequency of light in the chakra, that pulls in an entity, and then it becomes a symbiotic relationship where the entity keeps you feeling that low negative emotion. So just having this knowledge and being able to clean and clear ourselves, it's so important. It really, really is. Thank you for sharing that. Linda, what about yourself? What experience have you had?
For me, this has been incredible as far as how I feel personally having had sessions on me. I would have to say much lighter. I've had quite a bit of trauma and sadness in my life, like many people. And I really did battle depression and would work through that. but I think just having a higher level of understanding about how all of this works has really helped with that. Once you understand the process and how this works and how entities try to keep you in that space, it's very enlightening. But I just really have a different outlook now, and I've been able to work through all of that much easier, and just don't experience those bouts of depression and sadness. One of the things that I noticed with me when I first started this work is always trying to attack my throat. The entities, even in session, I was just always could feel them coming after my throat, trying to just keep me from being able to speak my truth and trying to silence me, basically. But so I just overall feel better. And then the tools that I've learned from you, I'm able to honestly just keep myself clear. But if I feel like I'm really struggling with that, I'll just reach out to a fellow practitioner and say, hey, I need a clearing. But it's just been an incredible, the difference in how I personally feel. And then as far as having sessions on myself, what I've learned too is incredible. I so far have not been able to come up with a previous Earth life experience. So I do believe I'm one of those waves of volunteers that Dolores wrote that book because she came across people like me. So I'm not saying I never have. Who knows? Maybe somebody will be able to help me tap into that. But it's been in both ways, as far as sessions I've had, things that I've learned about myself, but also keeping myself clear. I just feel better. I feel like I have more energy. I'm in a better headspace. I don't have that fog I always seem to have. So yeah, personally, it's been amazing.
That's so good to hear. It makes me feel so happy. Thank you. Alyssa, tell us about your experience. I feel personally that I have seen you change so much.
Yeah, I mean, I totally have. I totally have. Being sovereign is an amazing thing. And I think because I am clear now that I can feel when other energies kind of come in, I feel instantly within like my head, especially like my eyes. They kind of affect like my eyes, like everything kind of gets like blurry. So I'm really thankful that I can feel like when energies and everything comes in, or if something's off, I could pick it right up off of my son too. Like if he has something, I'm just, honed right into it. But me personally, I was underweight before. Now I'm a healthy weight. I gained like 30 pounds over this past year. Now, some people might not like that, but when you're underweight and you've been underweight for so long, it's kind of a good thing. I'm happy with myself. I'm happy with the way I look. I don't over talk now. Like, my throat is kind of clear. I also had a marijuana habit that I no longer have, which is actually kind of a big deal because I think whatever I had attached to me was kind of, fueling me to kind of smoke. And I am over a year, like completely free from smoking marijuana. And yeah, it's changed my life, like completely. Best way to describe it.
Your energy now versus your energy when I first met you is entirely different. You are like a completely different person.
I am. I'm who I'm supposed to be. I'm truly me now. Yeah. I'm not fueled by all these, outside influences that were just, like you said, sucking the light like right out of me, because that's what they were doing. Even though, I was a QHHT practitioner and I was able to conduct successful QHHT sessions, I was still suffering. And I knew that I was suffering, but, I didn't know all of it. And now I do, and it'll never happen again.
And that's it, isn't it? It's that sense of empowerment.
Yes.
And now when I connect with your energy and when I look at you, there's a feeling of peace there.
I am at peace. Yes, yeah. I am. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
That's amazing. Okay. Yes. So now I'm going to ask one of my favorite questions, which is, what is your favorite session that you personally have conducted? Because you've been through this process, you've learned the modality. For anybody watching this, in order to learn the modality, you have to be clean and clear yourself. That's what happens with any kind of healing modality that you go into, whether it's being a therapist. You have to heal your own stuff first before you can be an effective healer. So in the SCHH course, everybody has to do 25 swap sessions, 15 if you're QHHT or BQH trained, in order to be able to get that certification, to be able to practice on other people. So you guys have all had your own journey that you've been on, where you've been cleaned and cleared, and then you moved into the space where you now are the ones that clean and clear other people. So I want to ask you now, what is your favorite session that you've ever done? And we'll go out to Sharon first.
So I think one of my favorite sessions is earlier this year. I was contacted by a client I've seen a couple of times before, and she emailed me to tell me that she'd been, first of all, suffering from really bad facial eczema for the previous 6 months, which she tried absolutely everything to try and get rid of, tried all the creams, been to see her GP several times, nothing was working. And she said at the same time, she was also getting these sort of memories which were trying to surface, and she couldn't make head nor tail of them, and she didn't know if they were true memories or made up memories about some trauma that she'd suffered as a child. So she came in for a session, and during the session, during the regression part, she regressed back to this particular trauma in her childhood, and she was able to see it clearly. And the person who had given her this trauma actually came through during the session and apologized. After the session, and after, you know, all of the clearances and everything that was also done, apart from the regression, she said, well, the higher self came through and said the reason that the facial eczema had come on was because she was showing a mask to the world. So it was quite literally, she was hiding what had happened to her and was putting on a mask. Once she'd understood this, and after the session, the facial eczema cleared after 2 days. And she sent me photographs of her face completely clear after 2 days. So that was just amazing. And I was so glad to have helped her with that. So that was one of the best sessions.
It's beautiful, isn't it? When you get those sessions that there's a real physical healing that you see that's so evident it cannot be denied. And I think for those of us that do it because we want to help people, it just makes it so satisfying. That sounds like an incredible session. Well done.
Thank you.
Linda, what about yourself? What's been your favorite session so far?
Every session has been so unique. I probably could grab onto any one of them and say, you know, this one. But honestly, I think it was a gal that I'd actually met at a 3-day retreat where there was some group therapy done that I don't think you go as deep in a group hypnotherapy session. But at any rate, she had tried other people and processes and was absolutely convinced that she just couldn't be hypnotized or go into this theta state. She not only went into this theta state very easily with your method, but it was obvious she just began channeling, and she was just this plethora of information, and went through actually a couple of different, I've had recently people that have gone into several past lives. When you move them to a next, they're going to a whole different lifetime. But at any rate, she just, it was occurred to me, I thought, oh, this is how Dolores came up with this information to write these books. This, when she went to the light, was a light being and was a guide basically to help other people plan their next lives. And it was fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating. But also in getting to the higher self section, she'd had a lot of trauma through a really ugly divorce and some things that had happened. And I was able to cut some negative cords, and the feedback was just like instantly everything has gotten better for her. She no longer has these terrible dreams about this person. And she did say I could instantly feel that lift. But her life now, it is so much better. She's been able to recognize where a lot of the trauma came from. And the same person in one of the lives had an experience where she was a soldier, and the wool, she was cold and wet in this wool uniform. And later in our recap said, "Oh my goodness, I hate wool. To this day, I can't touch it, see it, feel it. I hate wool." And so just that is just one of the little things that will come up for people, is that they will understand how something in a past life carries over into this life. And the light bulb goes on. Now I understand why I hate wool. But anyway, this woman just is like, I can't believe what came through. I never thought I could even go under hypnotherapy after I've tried so many times, but
Yeah.
she was just this amazing high level being that had all this amazing information in there. It was incredible. And her life has just gotten so much better since.
And that's the beauty of the energetic cleanse at the front end, because once
Yes.
you are a clean and clear vessel, you can connect directly up. And that's it. You're connected. Many of these people that think they can't be hypnotized, it's simply because they've got energetic blockages. That's all it is. They need to be removed, and then they can be hypnotized. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. Alyssa,
That's amazing.
what's been your favorite session?
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're asking this, because all sessions are unique, but they're all relevant to like everybody. If you get one session out there about an experience that might resonate with somebody who's watching this recording, they're like, oh my gosh, wow, that worked for them. So this is it's like hope for everybody to kind of have a session. So two amazing things in one session. This individual had sexual trauma, bad situation. So an entity came in and attached to the sacral. And from that experience, she ended up developing a sexually transmitted disease. And that was like one of the things in the forefront of her wanting to have the session. She wanted to hopefully get rid of it. And, with QHHT, there are miraculous healings, you can get rid of diseases. So, of course, with SEHH, it's the same thing. And then especially when that entities cause, these things. So I was able to locate the entity in the sacral, and it was removed. But then she was like, oh, there's something still there. It was like hiding at the base of her like spine. And this entity was sitting on top of the sexually transmitted disease. And she said the sexually transmitted disease has its own consciousness. And I'm like, what? It has its own consciousness? Oh my God, that's really interesting. Let me talk to it. So I was actually able to talk to it, and I found out exactly why it was there. It was sent like almost like a curse from the person that caused this sexual trauma to her. Yes, an entity came in, but the entity didn't cause the STD. The STD was kind of sent to her as a curse, but the entity was triggering it because it was like sitting on top of it. So I was able to put the STD in a containment bubble and removed it and transmitted it to the light of source. And I reached out to her just to find out how she was doing. Well, I wanted to get her permission to talk about it because it's kind of very personal. After I read your email that you're going to ask this question, I'm like, well, let me reach out to her. And it's completely gone. She no longer has it. It was recommended that she just doesn't speak of it because it was like a curse. So, when you put certain things into existence, they can become like a reality. So she doesn't think about it anymore. So it's completely gone. So she's completely free and clear of something that, really caused her a lot of grief and pain, like in her life. So I thought that was pretty amazing and unique that I was able to talk to it. I guess it had like what you call organic consciousness. It had some type of consciousness, so I was able to talk to it. And then also within that session, she found something in the intestines, and I kind of asked, you know, when that came in, and she said it came in during the war. And I'm like, the war? You know, this woman was in her 50s, and like she didn't tell me that she was in any kind of, you know, war. And so I just kind of so I went into it a little bit more, and her grandmother actually contracted this parasite. It was an alien parasite. So her grandmother was alive during WW2, and she was Jewish, and she lived over in the Ukraine, and she was trying to flee Ukraine, and a bomb went off, and this ET parasite or alien parasite came over on the bomb. And when the bomb went off, it released. And anybody who was in like a fear or panic stricken state picked it up. And it was like an alien parasite that her grandmother had, and then the grandmother passed it on to her mother, and then her mother passed it on to her, and then she passed it on to her daughter, and then her daughter had a child and passed it on to her granddaughter. So it's a whole trickle effect. I thought it was super fascinating. And we were able to remove it. And I did ask her about how that is going. And she said it's better, but her diet isn't the best. So she still deals with intestinal things. But I'm pretty confident, you know, that that entity or parasite, whatever you want to call it, was removed. But I thought it was super fascinating, you know, that happened.
And this is something that many people would be horrified about if they actually understood that there are many entities that are passed through the womb that can pass from mother to son, but a lot of the time these entities are passed from mother to daughter and so on and so forth down the line, because as a woman in this space, our wombs are so powerful because we have the portal that allows a soul to come into this world and be born. And so the dark energies that try to hold this space in darkness, it is one of their top agendas, top priority, to hold the portals of the women. That's why women are so suppressed on this planet and have been for eons in so many different ways. Even women that don't feel they are suppressed are still not encouraged to connect with their full divine feminine energy. And it's because they want those portals within the woman to be taken. They want them to be low vibrational so that every child that is born will be born with an entity. And there are many, many, many people who start off in this world, and this be the chakra system, and they don't have access to orange right from the beginning, because when they were born, they took out their mother's sacral parasite, and they are born literally with their spectrum unbalanced because there is no orange. And when that occurs, very quickly the solar plexus will fall, then the throat, and then so on and so forth, until that particular individual does not look like that anymore, and they begin to look like that. And these black dots here represent the black hole that is created in the chakra system when that light is being siphoned off into the other dimension by the entities themselves. So the majority of people, normal everyday humans, if they understood that so much of their generational and ancestral trauma that's been brought down the family line is to do with eons of being parasited upon by dark beings who live on Earth too, but they just vibrate at a different resonance to us. And it's like the most ultimate trick, because they vibrate just outside of the spectrum that the human eye can see. They vibrate within the infrared spectrum. Okay, ladies. So the last thing I'm going to ask for you is to share all of the people that have connected with your energy today and have listened to your stories and want to have entity release themselves, and they want to book sessions with you. How do your future clients get in contact with you? And so I'm going to go out to Sharon first to answer that particular question.
Well, they can contact me through my website, which is www.sharonmason.co.uk, and there's a load of information on there, and they can book a free consultation with me as well on there.
Excellent. Linda, what about yourself?
I also have a website. Just recently got it up and running, and it's in progress, but I do believe it's functional at this point. But it is www.lindacanary.com.
Excellent stuff. And Alyssa, what about yourself?
So I also just created a website 2 days ago. Technology and me don't really go hand in hand. But it, just like Linda, it's a work in progress. It's www.humblingriverhypnosis.com. But also I have a Facebook business page where I generate majority of my clientele, and that's Humbling River Hypnosis, SCHH and QHHT by Alyssa Marie Gibson.
And all of that information that you've just heard will be placed in the bio, in the YouTube below. So if you want direct access to all of those websites and that information, just check out the information in the YouTube video below, and those links will be there for you. Ladies, it's been amazing to see you and chat to you today. I do apologise that I have a horrendous head cold. I tried to keep the tissues off the screen, but I wasn't entirely successful. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. The final thing I'm going to ask you before I let you guys go is, if there's anybody that's been watching this video that's already trained in QHHT that thinks, oh, I don't really know whether I need to train in entity release as well. Is it worth spending that extra money? Am I really going to come across people that have got entities? What would you say to those people that are kind of on the fence? Sharon, go to you first.
I'd say watch some of the practitioner videos on YouTube, see what we're up against, see what healing can be done, see, you know, what people are experiencing. Then you'll know if you've got the guts to handle the demons, because they can be difficult. You'll just know. If you resonate with it, you'll know.
Thank you, Sharon. What about yourself, Linda?
Anybody that is even contemplating this, just do it. Honestly, Laura, your course is one of the more affordable courses out there. The value for the money is astronomical, what you get from what you charge people. I mean, it's obvious to me that you do this for the betterment of humanity and not for your bank account, because it's affordable and it's just needed. The more the vibration of the earth raises, the more we're coming up against this. And there are modalities out there that don't want to even admit this is a thing. But if you're in this work, you will, if you haven't yet, soon find out that it is necessary. But your course is amazing. And I would say anybody that's even giving it a thought, look into it, just do it. It's fantastic. I'm so happy I found it. Absolutely.
Thank you. And Alyssa?
Yeah, if you're on the fence, you're on the fence for a reason. So just jump over the fence and just dive right into it. You know, follow your instincts. You know, you were led to it for a reason. Led to this, you know, this interview as well. So just go with your resonance, follow your instincts, and to change your life, and then change all of your clients' lives as well. So it's like a win-win for everybody. And totally agreed. Your course is extremely affordable compared to others.
Thank you. That means the world. And what would I add to that? I know there's a real thing about having the courage to work with demons and entities, and many people will shy away from it for that reason. But whether you shy away from it or not, there will be clients that come to see you that have those attached. And as healers, we want to be fully equipped to be able to heal every single person, or help them to access what they need to access within to heal themselves. And if you don't have that level of training, it will put you into fear when you come across these things. And that is the last thing that you want to be in at that point in time. What we teach at SCHH is there is no fear. No fear required, no fear necessary, just compassion and strength. And if you've got those two very important qualities in your tool belt and the training that you will get through the Soul Center Healing Hypnosis course, you've got everything that you need to set yourself up to be the best healing practitioner. Plus, as well, like Alyssa said, you're healing your own life and changing your own life first before you even step into that space of helping other people. And who doesn't want to do that? That's why we're here, isn't it? Is to
Not fun
heal.
being stuck.
It's
Depressed. Yeah.
It's to heal ourselves.
Yes.
So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Sharon, Linda and Alyssa, for joining me today. I really, really appreciate you sharing your experiences. And to anybody who is watching, who wants to train in Soul Center Healing after watching this, that's where you need to go. www.schofficial.com, and you can find several training packages on there to meet your individual needs. For those of you who have resonated with Sharon, Linda and Alyssa and you want to book a session, please go to the information that's in the video underneath in the YouTube comment section. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been lovely to see you today. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.